Hello again, everybody. It's Les East, Brian Allee-Walsh at NewOrleans.com. And Les, we got a little freedom this afternoon, apparently. Sean Payton has surprised all of us and canceled the on-field work, and now the team is going to meet and lift this afternoon. So that essentially takes the media out of the mix until the Saturday night kickoff at 7 at the Superdome.
Right, and that's when they'll finish up their week's worth of work with the Texans. 2 practices yesterday, 1 this morning. The Texans are going to work this afternoon by themselves down at the Superdome. The Saints pretty much following their regular routine. 2 practices yesterday. They've been following that up with 1 the following morning, and then just having meetings and lifting weights in the afternoon. So he just went back to what had been their normal schedule, coming off at 2 a day like they had yesterday.
Well, we finally see some fisticuffs a little bit this morning. First time in all of camp that some tempers flared. And it was the Texans and the Saints, a couple of skirmishes. I guess Matt Tennant might have thrown a punch. You know, it's up to debate if it was a punch or a forearm shiver. But regardless of what it's called, it's the first time that there's really been some losing of control. It was good to see. It was actually fun. John Stinchcomb might be the biggest injury of sorts. Shoulder, I think Peyton said it was a ding, but he should be ready for Saturday night's preseason game. So bring us up to date with how the other injured are doing.
Well, we asked Sean Payton if he was ready to rule anybody out of Saturday night, and he didn't want to say anything officially, but earlier in the week he had said that it was unlikely that Stanley Arnew, the linebacker, or tight end Jimmy Graham would be able to play. They both have high ankle sprains that they sustained in the game against New England last week. The 2 guys on the physically unable to perform list, Darren Sharper and Clint Ingram, certainly won't be able to play on Saturday. That just leaves fullback Marcus Malai, who has an ankle injury, who has an ankle situation, and so he'd be sort of in limbo. And Usama Young with the groin, I think it's probably unlikely that he would be able to play. So most of the guys who've been missing practice probably will miss the game Saturday. Looks like Stinchcomb will play, so that pretty much, reading the tea leaves, I think that's where the injuries are at.
You know, as you think about it, starting Saturday, they've got 3 exhibitions going to be crammed into 11 games. And in speaking with Peyton, you know, there's going to be 10, 12 spots here, 1 on special teams. So anybody that needs to make a mark, catch a coach's eye, it's got, the time is running out for guys to make this club.
Yeah, and I think one thing that might be interesting, you know, when you watch these preseason games, it's easy in the second half at some point to just stop paying attention, because you're seeing a lot of unfamiliar faces, a lot of guys who won't make the team, but there's so many potential spots to be won on special teams, because the special teams have been a problem here, and they have a lot of young guys at the type of positions where you get special teamers. You're going to see some guys out there in the 3rd and 4th quarter playing on special teams or fighting for their job. So it actually might be interesting late in the game, even after the starters are long gone.
Well, I tell you, that's a good sell on your part. You telling fans not to leave early? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we want them to keep following the blog on NewOrleans.com right through the end, because we'll be updating them with each special teams play that comes along. You want to update your 53-man roster after each series of downs?
It's all, as I've said, it's always an evolving roster, okay? As far as special teams go, if there are 10 or 12 spots, you know, you're looking at positions that I think are going to be really jammed full of competition. He's certainly looking at the defensive end position. You're looking at the linebacking core and the DBs for sure, and even the wide receiving core. I understand that Arrington is pushing Courtney Roby, even in a minute way, but he's pushing him. And I still think Roby's the guy to take at that spot, but because of his returnability. But you know, guys are definitely going to win or lose jobs based on how their special teams go. I think of a guy like Reggie Jones, cornerback, now playing a little bit of safety with Usama Young's injury. So these are the kind of players that if they come in and show, at least there'll be a consideration when it comes down to cut down day. And that's not too far away now, you know. The 75 is just next week, and then September 4th is the cut down to 53. And I understand that Patrick Ramsey is not a lock at 2. Okay, Chase Daniel is pushing him for everything.
And that's another thing to watch, because, you know, you can see a big difference in Pat from the first few days out here. His head was swimming because he'd just shown up. He was just learning the offense and learning the receivers he had to get timing with. And you can see now he's a lot more comfortable in the offense, a lot more confident. So you've seen him evolve over time. But that's still a competition there, and that it'll be interesting to continue to follow him to see if he gets more and more comfortable in the offense. But also Chase Daniel, a very different type of quarterback, is another guy to keep an eye on.
And I think what people need to keep in mind, even if Chase Daniel would beat out Patrick Ramsey, they're going to go get another veteran quarterback. It's not going to be Chase at number 2 necessarily, okay? They're going to go get some experienced player at that position if Patrick doesn't win that number 2 job. Patrick will make this team as a number 3. That's for certain. So, that's going to be an interesting thing to play out here over the next few games anyway.
Yeah, and that's all going to factor into the roster equation, because when they come down, they may be looking at, well, Pat has to make the roster because we have to have an experienced backup. We'd like to keep Chase, but maybe we want to keep a 10th defensive back or a 6th wide receiver or another linebacker because of their ability to play special teams, and maybe they think Chase will clear waivers and they can put him on the practice squad and still have him hanging around. So there are a lot of equations that are going to have to be factored into figuring out the roster, and it's not necessarily you did good enough to earn a job. It might be because of special teams, we're going to have to let you go and hope you hang around because we think you can play, but we need somebody on special teams right now.
Absolutely. So please stick to NewOrleans.com for this afternoon's updates. I'll be doing something on Troy Evans and the special teams, and we've got advanced tomorrows.com edition, and then the updated 53-man roster will be up here in Sunday's website. So please stay tuned to NewOrleans.com for the remainder of the weekend, and it's Les East, Brian Allee-Walsh, NewOrleans.com. We'll talk to you next time.